Hey, it's Liz from No Trace. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a raincoat for a dog. In order to make this raincoat, I'm actually using the fabric from an old umbrella and a pair of old sweatpants. Now, I have a different video that shows you how to remove the fabric from an umbrella, so I'm going to link to that right here if you want to see how to get the fabric off the umbrella in order to work with it to turn it into other fun projects. If you enjoy upcycling projects like this, there is a link to join my Facebook group in the description below this video. So go ahead and click on that link. I'd love to see you over there. We talk about upcycling and zero waste sewing and crafting. This is a really fun project and your pup will probably really appreciate it. So let's go. Step one to making a dog raincoat is to figure out the pattern that you're going to use, and there are 3 ways to get a dog coat pattern. The first way is to use a dog coat that you already have and trace it out on a large piece of paper. Now that's what I've done for this pattern, was tracing out the body of the coat and the collar and the little straps. The second way to find a dog coat pattern is to look online. You'll probably be able to find a free one, or you could definitely purchase one. And then the third way is to draft your own pattern for your dog. So you're going to want to measure from the base of the neck to towards the tail, wherever you want it to end on their back. That's one measurement. You're going to want to measure around the neck, which is going to be this part of your pattern. You're going to want to measure around the dog's chest in order to get straps that wrap around the chest of your pup. And then you're also going to want to measure the width of the jacket that you want for your dog. So if you decide where you want the jacket to lay on your dog and measure from those one side to the other. Now, a collar is optional, but you could also add a collar as well and just kind of eyeball that on your dog. Once you have the pattern for your dog raincoat, go ahead and lay the pattern on top of the fabric that you're going to use for the dog coat. Like I said, I'm using an old umbrella for my outer layer. And so I'm going to lay this on top and either use pattern weights or pins to hold it in place, and then trace the pattern out of the nylon and then cut it out. Now that I've cut out the main body of the dog coat, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the collar and then the 2 belly straps. Now that all my pattern pieces are cut out of the umbrella fabric, I'm going to go ahead and repeat those same steps with a soft fleecy fabric, and I'm going to actually be using a pair of old sweatpants that got a little bit torn up. So I've cut them open and I'm going to be cutting the pattern piece out of these old sweatpants. Now that all my pattern pieces are cut out, I'm going to first assemble the straps and the collar. And the way to do that is just to place the 2 pieces of fabric for the collar with the right sides together. Then I'm going to pin them around 3 sides, the top 3 sides. Then I'm going to stitch them with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, leaving this bottom edge with about a 4-inch opening so I can turn the collar right side out. Once the 2 collar pieces are attached, I'm going to go ahead and repeat that with the straps that go around the belly. When I sew up the straps, I'm going to actually leave the opening at one of the short ends on each of the straps. And before we turn the straps and the collar right side out, we want to trim off any bulk from the corners, making sure not to cut our stitches. And if you have any extra bulk along any of the seams, go ahead and trim that down. Once it's trimmed, go ahead and turn it right side out. And you'll probably want a chopstick to get in there and really push out those corners. Once they're all turned right side out, you're going to want to give it a little press and then top stitch the collar and the 2 straps. Okay, so these 3 pieces are top stitched and we're going to set them aside. And now we're going to assemble the main part of the dog coat. We're going to place the right sides together for the umbrella material and the old sweatpant material. And these are my little patches. And we want to get these lined up and pinned in a few places. Once you have a few pins in place, we're ready to get the collar in between these two layers. But in order to do that, we want to find the center point on the collar. So just fold the collar in half and just do a little finger press. You could also put a pin to mark the center of your collar. And you want to do that for the bottom edge too. So fold it in half, find that center, get a pin in there. And then you want to find the center on the collar opening spot also. So again, we will fold this in half and find the center and just get a couple of pins right here so we can line up the center of the jacket with the center of the collar. So now we're going to be putting the collar with the raincoat material facing the raincoat material of the jacket. So they're facing each other. And then we want to use those pins to line up the center of the collar with the center of the raincoat. And then just take your time and pin the collar in place along this curved opening. All right, so the collar should look sort of like this after you've pinned it. And now we're going to get these straps in between the two layers of fabric also. So you're going to want to use your pattern piece or the original coat that you patterned it off of to figure out where on the sides to put your straps. So I put a little blue mark that I want to center the straps on each side. And again, we're going to put this with the umbrella material facing the umbrella material and just get it lined up, centered on that mark on each side, and then we'll pin it in place. Once your straps are pinned on each side, we're going to take it to the machine and I'm going to stitch all the way around, and I'm going to make sure to leave an opening at the bottom, and I'm also going to reinforce the straps with a couple extra rows of stitches. Once these two layers and the collar and the straps are sewn together, you're going to want to trim off any bulk around the seams and also make some snips in the collar so that it can bend a little bit more easily. So you just want to clip the fabric towards the stitching without actually cutting the stitching, about every ½ inch or so, just around this curved spot so that the collar can fold over a little bit more easily. Once all the bulk is trimmed, we're ready to turn it right side out. Starting to look really cute. So the next step is that I'm going to go ahead and press the seam so that it lays really flat, and then I'm going to top stitch all the way around the area that hasn't yet been top stitched. All right, I've top stitched all the way around, and I made sure to close the opening that I left at the bottom. And now the last step is to figure out how you want to fasten your dog raincoat. So you could use snaps, you could use Velcro, or you could even use buttons and a buttonhole. So you have 3 different options. I'm going to be using snaps as the fasteners for my dog raincoat, and I put this on my dog and I marked about where I want the straps to overlap with a little bit of blue chalk. So that's where I'm going to be installing my snaps. So I like to use a leather punch to make the holes for my snaps, but you could also just use a seam ripper. I'm going to go ahead and make 4 holes. Then I'm going to install the 2 top parts of the snap onto one side of the coat. So just get those in place, and I'm going to repeat that on this side with the other top snap pair, and then I'll just go ahead and set the other parts of the snap onto the other 2 straps. I always like to check that my snaps are snapping together, and as long as they are, we're good to go. If they're not snapping really well, sometimes you just need to get your tool and just clamp down on them a second time. But these snaps are working, so our little jacket's done. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it inspires you to make your own raincoat for your dog. And don't forget to join us in our Zero Waste Sewing and Crafting Facebook community. I have a link to join the group in the description box below this video, so just click underneath this video to join us. And please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the No Trace channel to get notified about all of our videos. We put out a new video every single week on zero waste sewing, crafting, and lifestyle tips. So I'll see you again very soon.